All right, everyone, welcome to Rhythm and Roads. Merry Christmas. We have a very special guest. We have Grammy and four-time Dove Award winner Bryan Duncan. He has multiple hits from Love Takes Time, Into My Heart, and the Christmas one, Angels We Have Heard on High,
Is
and a
that
lot more.
is that a hit? I
Well, it looks like it.
well,
I thought it was it.
they don't ever tell me, what list they're on or stuff like that, and
Yeah.
so and if you don't listen to that station, you wouldn't know it was a hit.
Well, I think another hit is the Stand in My Place.
Some things can't be
Oh, yeah.
explained like it.
Yes.
I find it easier to curse than pray. That's still true. That's still a true
Yeah.
thing. It might have been a prophecy on my part.
I think we all struggle with that.
There's more stuff to struggle with nowadays than I can ever remember. And, the world feels more insane than it ever did. When
Mm,
I was coming up, I mean, we spent a lot of time in our early days of evangelistic concerts and things
yeah.
trying to be polite. I mean, just, we're reaching out in love and, compassion and trying to understand people. And then you got Islam on the other side now that are
Mm.
just a religion of let's see how many ways we can irritate everybody. Uh, and then we're singing about peace and joy this time of the year.
Yeah.
Uh, you know, uh, good and peace on earth, goodwill to men. And then there's this whole crowd of people going, "Kill all you Akbars!" It's like, yeah, that's the kind of religion I want to embrace.
Oh man. Well, Brian, I just want to say it's such a pleasure to have you on Rhythm and Roads.
Yeah, good to be
Yeah,
here.
and then you have a really incredible just journey of as a music artist from the early 80s to did you start in the early 80s?
Well, I was born in 1953.
No, I know, but I
That's
mean
when I
you're singing.
started. You know,
Well, maybe your singing career.
well, I started singing when I was 16. So you do the math:
Oh
53,
wow, okay.
63, 64, 65, 69. I guess I must have started in 69, uh,
Okay.
writing songs.
Yeah.
Started writing songs because this lady at my dad's church gave me her son's guitar. She had a teenage son about my age, and he committed suicide. And
Oh
not
man.
a great story, but she gave me his guitar. It was a Fender Jazzmaster.
Okay.
Apparently, he was in a rock band, and must not have been going well. Anyway, I didn't know how to play that. I was playing a bass in church because my dad taught me the three chords that we usually played in church,
Okay.
and so it was easy to play that. Doo 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 doo.
Yeah.
Uh, but I started making stuff up on the guitar because I really didn't know what I was doing.
Mm.
And I was screaming a lot because that kept me from committing suicide. When you're the teenage angst, everything is trying to fit
Oh
in,
man.
trying to be somebody, trying to be
Mm.
acceptable. There's so much
Oh
nightmare
yeah.
to it that it doesn't surprise me that you know teenage years are just awkward.
I think we've all been through that. Yeah, I think I remember going through that. I think yeah. So, I want to touch base on that real quick. Like, how did you handle going through those teenage years of, like you said, going through the phase of figuring yourself out, not being accepted, just
I don't think I did. I was an outsider in high
mm,
school.
wow.
I played football one year, and my football coach suggested I get into music. It's like, just I had enough anger to knock somebody down.
Dang.
No problem. Uh,
Wow.
so I mean, I got on the team because on defense, um, I had plenty of rage to hit somebody, and
Mhm.
but I couldn't find a hole in the line as far as running the ball or any of that stuff. I just always wasn't good, wasn't good at
Mm.
that. So Glad I found something to do with my anxiety, though. I come home after school, and we were lived in the parsonage next to the church, and so I come home from school and go straight over to the church. My dad played guitar, and he had a guitar that he always left on the stage, and there was an amp, and so I just started. I'd stand up there and noodle around on the guitar, and then I would play to an empty auditorium all the time. And it was
Wow.
like, hey, I can do this. It was a little scarier when people were in the room, but all the screaming, it was cathartic to at that age to just scream about stuff. Rock and roll was it.
No.
Well, there was
It's
funk too. Don't get me wrong.
yeah,
I really
yeah,
liked Sly and the Family Stone in high school, man.
yeah.
Bap, 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 when I want to. Dun, dun, dun,
Mm,
dun, dun, dun.
yeah.
After school. Yeah, there it is. So
Here it is. And so at that point, then you started to discover yourself as a singer, guitar player.
no,
No?
it was a hobby.
Okay.
I was terrible talking to girls, and so I was just one of those guys in the corner. I got louder around church. I didn't have any problem there, but in high school, I was a wallflower somewhat because I was, you know, wasn't fitting in. Of course, I grew up in church, and so you weren't supposed to dance, drink, cuss, smoke, or chew, or run with the girls who do. So, needless to say, I always felt like I don't know where I belong, but
Mm.
apparently everything's wrong. Like, if you live in church, you just figure everything's wrong, and you can't do anything. So, yeah, I didn't realize till I was second year of college. Well, I was singing at first year of college.
Yeah.
Started a band in Florida and got kicked out of most churches because we were playing folk rock music.
Oh my God, really?
Yeah, it was kind of demonic. Who knew that was
Oh,
demonic music?
geez.
I was a big fan of James Taylor too.
Yeah.
I've seen fire and I've seen rain. And I'm going, that stuff sounded really good. Who knew that church leaders thought that was demonic? Going,
Wow.
and this is the thing: is if somebody comes up to you and they say, and they try to cast demons out of you, don't knock their hand away because uh, that pretty much proves their point. That you
Jeez.
have a demon.
Okay. And so what band did you start when you actually got started on the career?
Oh man, I played music at college, and we did some stuff. I recorded a song, so I guess I was technically in it, but it still felt like a hobby to me. And I went
Yeah.
to California after I got kicked out of Bible college and down in Lakeland.
You got
And
kicked out of Bible college?
oh yeah, you didn't know? I thought I told you that.
No.
I went down there because I figured, well, I didn't know what I was supposed to be doing, but as a preacher's kid, I got a lot of Bible learning, and I thought, well, maybe I should be a missionary to Africa. So I went down there and I majored in missions, and I found more to do off campus than than I was spending in school. So
Oh, wow.
yeah, and of course they had some pretty strict rules in Bible college.
Yeah.
You had a curfew. I mean, you're
Oh,
in your
yeah.
you're supposed to be an adult after 18 sometime, but there was a curfew and a dress code and a hair code. You couldn't have your hair over your ears.
What?
Uh, that was back in the hippie days too. So if
Oh,
you
okay.
so my hair was about this long, but I would just push it behind my ears, and
Yeah, yeah.
that always worked unless they saw you with it coming out on the sides, or then you'd lose honor points, and so
Oh my God.
you get 10 honor points per semester, and I lost 25. It's like, It was curfew violations. I come in at after midnight sometime because we
Wow.
would be playing somewhere. Be playing. I had a little band, and we played in a lot of colleges and
Yeah.
mostly Baptist churches because Baptists
Okay.
were the closest to heathen people. I think the Assemblies of God, the Pentecostal people were just not going to have it. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I played a lot of Baptist churches in the early days.
Yeah. Okay.
So
You know.
the point was, I get to California, and I heard about the Jesus movement starting out there, and I heard
Okay.
Love Song. My cousin sent me their record and said, you got to hear these guys. You probably enjoy California,
Oh
and
yeah.
so it sounded like a good idea. I quit college. Well, I was kicked out in Florida, and so I signed up for college on the West Coast and drove myself out there um, at what 17 or something, 18,
Yeah.
and it was only about a year and a half before I started a band, a Sweet Comfort band.
Oh yeah. Sweet Comfort bands.
I was opening as a solo act in front of Love Song and at the tent
Really?
in the Jesus Movement days,
Oh
and
wow.
there was Love Song and Children of the Day, and there's a lot of other bands that you probably never heard of at the time, but like Road Home and Winging a Prayer and Blessed Hope.
Wow. Okay.
There was a lot of rock bands, and I loved going to their Bible study because it was in a circus tent, and there was 3,000 people at that thing, and
Dang, that's
I mean,
crazy.
who's been to a Bible study that has 3,000 people on a Monday night? You
That's
know,
crazy. Wow. It's
so
awesome.
I started there. I started singing there, as a solo artist.
Yeah.
They thought I sounded like Elton John.
Ooh, that's a compliment.
I don't know if it was or not. I didn't really care, but he had a song out called Tiny Dancer. And
Oh, okay.
I wrote a song kind of hold me close, little tiny dancer. And it was like I was doing How's Your Faith. It was almost the same melody line, and so needless to say, people kept calling me that Elton John guy.
And then so we're gonna skip ahead a bit because I know we're on a time frame.
No, we're
So
not now. My wife left me.
oh
Like
great.
she
Okay. Well
says, "Oh,
then
you're on an interview. I'm gonna go shopping." Which maybe we should quit early because I could be broke in about 10 minutes. Go ahead. Let know where my
I
wife
love your
went on
jokes,
without me.
bro.
She left without me. So.
I love your jokes. Good stuff. Great humor. Um, so well, I mean, we're going back to your story because for those that don't know you and they want to get to know some of it, like where did it launch from that point of your start of your albums, right? From your solo albums.
Uh, well, that was a long time later. The Sweet Comfort Band. I mean, it was not even really a career move. At
Okay.
that point, Sweet Comfort Band. We were playing high schools and colleges and outreach stuff for Calvary Chapel,
Yeah.
playing a lot of the Calvary Chapel circuit Bible studies, and we eventually did our own record, but we had to raise most of our own money,
Wow.
and but we've been playing for 3 years by the time we had a record out, and so when it came out, it sold like 10,000 copies in 3 days. And I was like,
Wow.
that
Three
always helps.
days?
Get out
Yeah.
there and do it first, and then put your record out. Um,
Right.
it makes it a little easier, but I was in the band for 11 years.
We
And
come for them?
yeah,
Wow, long time.
we eventually started touring the whole country, and it seems like we left the country a couple of times, Canada. Uh,
That's
uh,
cool. Wow.
but it was hard to tell what we were back then. We weren't considered, rock and roll stars or musicians or in the ministry even. It was all flying by the seat of our pants, basically.
Wow.
11 years of that, and then we did 6 albums. before we broke
Six.
up.
That's great. Wow.
6 albums with over the year. Almost every year we started doing a record, and I was writing about 80% of the music of the songs. But eventually, we weren't paying our bills. Nobody in the band was a financial manager, and I got tired of being broke.
Yeah.
I turned 30 years old, and I'm going. I'm still making $200 a week. It's not going to cut it. I just got married, and now I'm going to have a baby.
Wow.
And I started to realize, this ain't cutting it. This. I can't keep doing this. Which is a
Mm.
scary thought when you get to a point in your life where you, everything's got to change. You know,
Yeah.
and that's one of the things I heard in a recovery program once years later, but it really rings true in this point is you don't change directions until the pain of your current circumstances is greater than the fear of doing something about it. And
Yeah.
there it is in a nutshell.
There it is.
Uh, and it's been the story of every chapter of my life. I quit the band and got a job pouring concrete, and um, I didn't have any aspirations to do anything, for about 6 or 8 months till somebody said, I had a friend that was Randy Stonehill's manager, and he says, man, I could get you a contract right now in like 2 weeks. Do if you wanted to do your own songs.
Wow.
And so I'm going, oh,
Okay.
well, that sounded better than pouring concrete.
Well, yeah.
And and sure enough, he called Light Records to about because they had done the Sweet Comfort Band last record,
Okay.
and he said, I think he told them, he says, I've got an artist that would you be interested in signing an artist that's already selling 70,000 records?
Wow.
Yeah, we'd be really interested. Like,
Yeah.
so that was 85, and I started my first record, and it was called Have Yourself Committed. It was as I thought, I felt like I was losing my mind after 10 years in a band and not knowing, you know, not even having a sense of identity. Like I write songs because I don't do anything else very well. And I sing, I can scream at the top of my lungs. And who knew that would become a career?
Wow. And going back to your first album, Have Yourself Committed, was there another album called The Light Years?
The Light Years was the end of the road for that record company. I quit the band. I quit their label after 2 records. I'd done Holy Rollin', and it was clear to me that they weren't doing well. They
Mm.
were going. They were close to bankrupt. They had some big names on their art. I mean, Andre Crouch
Wow.
on their label for a while. It was there was some it went way back. Light Records went way back to the early days when Ralph Carmichael was a big orchestra. So,
Oh,
but I think they were going downhill fast, and I could tell that they weren't putting any marketing into Holy Rollin', and so I left, and then they put that record out. What did you call it? It's a
so
pirated record.
I see it right now. It's called The Light Years.
Yeah, the Light Years. That
Yeah.
means it's kind of like Bud Light. Like, no, the Light Years was it was their attempt to get the last drop of money out of uh, my time there by putting both records together on the same project and releasing it as what looks like a new record, but it was the same 2 records that I'd already done.
Oh, I see. Okay. And then from
Um,
that point, oh, go ahead.
I went I went with Gary Whitlock. He was the A&R guy at Light, and I liked him. He was a nice guy, energetic, young. and he was going to start his own label, and he did. He started a label called Modern Art, and it was
That's a
down
cool
in
label. Good
Hollywood.
title. Okay.
Um, so we did. What was the first record? I can't remember. Was it? It might have been Whistling in the Dark. No, it was Strong Medicine.
Wrong Medicine? Oh, that's a good one. Yeah.
We started that record, and it was like I'm going. That's where you heard that song.
Stand in
I
my
find
place.
I find it easier to curse than pray. It's like, yeah, that made sense.
Yeah.
I'm hanging by a thread in the music business, and so um, that record. I don't even think that record was out before Modern Art was going belly up. Oh no, you know what? We did Have Yourself Committed
Okay.
with the no was that no that was with Light. Well, I'm having trouble remembering my. You have to Google me. Google me sometime. I'm sure the timeline will be
No,
there
that's fine.
because
Yeah. No problem.
see, there's nothing up here at this
Yeah.
point. I'm going.
Well, I know Strong Medicine was definitely a great album. And of course, Mercy, I think, was just wow. Like, whoa, Brian, that's definitely a level up.
Well, that was a long time later. So there was Whistling in the Dark after Strong Medicine. Whistling in the Dark was when I'm realizing, I'm cutting and pasting a lot of gospel stuff, and it's not really coming from a really challenged uh, relationship with God. So I started asking questions. I've I found myself between the answers. You know, I don't want to make believe. It's like I'm someone who feels, but I don't make believe.
Mm.
And so that was about a different course. And then,
Yeah,
but there was several records before. Mercy was by then I was off of Modern Art, and Word Records picked me up because they heard me open for Amy Grant up in Seattle.
oh, cool. Okay.
So Amy Grant probably got my foot in the door in some ways by just
That's good.
me playing at the same gig.
Yeah. Well, that album Mercy is really good. I mean, you have Into My Heart, of course, the hit Love Takes Time. I mean, great songs, man.
Well, the Mercy Project was the peak of my career, frankly.
Yeah.
Sold because Word Records had a distribution contract with Epic Records, and we that was the most money they'd ever put into a record, I think, until Christmas is Jesus. We did the Mercy Project was probably $50,000, which was big money for an album for a single album.
Wow. Okay.
Um, but we hired all the best players that we could get out of Hollywood. You know, the drummer from Toto, Jeff Porcaro, and
Really? Okay.
Giants, David Huff, and Peter Wolf on keyboards. He was producing the Jay Giles band and Chicago and a lot. So I mean, there's
Wow.
a lot of people on the Mercy Project that were really good,
Wow. Okay.
like Michael Omardian. I wrote some songs with Michael Omardian on that record, and I worked in his studio. And he'd just finished. He'd produced Donna Summer and Christopher Cross, and I don't know who else, but I mean, he was phenomenal, phenomenal keyboard player. He played stuff
Wow.
on the Mercy Project that I never played. This is what I decided. Maybe I ought to hire another keyboard player and stand out front. I can't copy what Michael Omardian's doing.
Right. Well, let's get into your Christmas is Jesus, the album on that. So, was that your first Christmas album?
Yeah, you might be at the end of your career when you start doing Christmas records, or maybe you've been around for so long that people are just trying to find something else to sell records with, because man, I had 8 or 10 records by then. So
Yeah, it's a lot. Jeez.
Christmas
Well,
as Jesus was a big deal. I mean, it was really a
yeah.
big deal. I was the hood ornament. I used to say and I was the hood ornament on the Pontiac. You know, and like it was just a giant, Edsel. Like just, just picture a giant car, 50 feet long, with the little Indian head on the hood
No,
ornament.
yeah, yeah.
That would be me. I was the singer, and I think the first thing I picked for that record was the one song that I really liked was, and was the most honest to me was I heard the bells because it didn't sound like too fairy tale-ish or happy happy joy joy,
Okay.
which is not really. Sometimes that seems to contradict the realities that you see around you at
Yeah.
Christmas time. And that song was spectacular, and it was mostly because it said, yeah, because there is no peace on earth, I said. That song seemed like at least it acknowledged that this ain't the world that we wish it was,
Mm,
um, and it still isn't. And
mm,
therein is the beginning of hope. Is when you realize that you're not where you want to be, and hope is the substance of things hoped for. And that's faith. Faith is a
true.
substance of
Yeah.
things hoped for, and that's where it starts for me. It is at Christmas.
Yeah.
Is But God so loved the world that He gave His only Son, that whoever believed in Him would not perish. Lord have mercy. An awful lot of people perishing these days, and
Yeah.
I've never let go of that faith. Never have.
That's awesome. Even through this dark times, huh?
Yeah, everything. I was thinking about it yesterday too, because I mean, there's just so many people that are just brutal. I mean, we've seen some, awful things this month in the way of massacres
Oh, yeah.
of Jews simply because they're not the people you are. I'm going, that's not a religion. That's demonic. It's a demonic activity. Wants death, and that's it's not what Christ came to deliver us from. Well, that's what He came to deliver us from, death. You will not die, but you will have eternal life. That's the whole
Yeah.
point of Christmas. That's the good news. So, anybody that's cursing, if you don't believe like I do, I'm going to kill you. That's not a phobia. That is a warning,
Yeah.
that you don't invite it into your house. So, but I was thinking about it the other day about, turning the other cheek. When do we start shooting back? I'm going, there's nothing in the Bible that says that turning the other cheek is supposed to happen all the time. It's like Jesus was using it as a metaphor. But when people say, you know, there's there's a point where they say, he just really uh, beat the crap out of me with that statement. He's like, you don't check anybody's cheeks for that. For that it's a metaphor. You
Yeah.
emotionally felt battered somehow, but it doesn't mean that you should always be a pacifist.
Mhm.
And but I was trying to figure it out because it just seems uglier than ever. And God keeps telling me, He says, do not make a big deal about the waves around the boat. Get out,
Mm,
keep your eyes focused on Jesus. He says, share the light of the gospel. If I be lifted up, will draw all men. So I'm trying to find a balance of when to say this is not right, and when to say and to still stay focused on Christ, in Christ alone. And
right.
because the Bible says, the other day I read it, as it was in the days of Noah, so shall it
Mm,
be. So, let's not think for a second that things are worse than they ever were. It was so bad in Noah's day that even God said, "Hey, I got to get rid of these people." I'm going. I'm gonna I'm going to wash them all away, which is kind of the way I
Well, it's
feel right
true.
now.
He
I'm
did
going,
do that.
we need to wipe off the face of the planet. It's depressing to think how bad human beings can be. And,
Yeah. Mm.
even my best efforts are kind of embarrassing to me at some
Yeah.
point.
Wow.
So,
Yeah. They,
just remember that, God's up,
yeah.
not up there wringing his hands, but I'm going, I don't know how he tolerates this. You know,
Yeah.
clearly, uh, death does not bother God. I mean, he can, wave his hand and bring Lazarus back. It's like nothing,
True. Yeah.
so clearly, there's a, there's an aspect to life and death that we don't understand.
Yeah.
And it doesn't seem to, I mean, maybe God has some, I know he wept in situations before, but, it doesn't seem to be um, something that concerns him a lot, because, I mean,
Yeah.
because, even the Bible talks about the dead in Christ shall rise first. I'm going, I don't know how he had to make a timeline, otherwise everything would happen at once. But you start
Yeah.
thinking, clearly God is not concerned about someone losing their life.
Mm.
Somehow, he's eternal. He's not late. He's eternal.
Right. Right.
Um, and I don't get it, but that's the point of knowing Jesus is to know him. God wants you to know him. That's our purpose for being here. And man, I got to tell you, I'm learning from personal experience
Yeah. No, I think we all are. Yeah.
that suffering, like Oswald says in My Utmost for His Highest, he says, um, suffering removes a great deal of shallowness. And I'm
Yeah.
going, we don't really get serious about things until things are hard. And when they get hard, it's no longer a trip to Disneyland. And um, and so he allows it. He allows it, and there's no point in saying that it shouldn't be, that suffering should not be, or that God was wrong in doing so,
Mm.
in allowing it.
Yeah. I agree. I do want to touch base real quick on the Christmas is Jesus album.
Oh
Um,
yeah, we got off the subject, didn't we?
no, that's fine, and that was great that you mentioned a lot of that. I mean, it's very true, and yeah,
Well, that
so
was the
I,
whole point. That's the whole point of Christmas is Jesus.
yeah, right,
I wrote that song, the title track. I wrote that song because I was just really tired of people saying "Happy Holidays." It was like, I wanted to just say, "Shut the hell up!" Just shut up. I don't, I don't care about the holiday. Um, if there's not a purpose to this, um, it just seemed,
yeah, I agree, yeah,
Christmas is Jesus.
right,
A star from the heavens has fallen for you. I thought that was a pretty good line that I wrote myself. Like,
yeah, that's actually really good. I like that.
well, you know what? It's hard. Look at all the stuff that's been written in the name of Christmas. It's hard to come up with something original at all.
Well,
And
true.
and I borrowed Billy Batstone as another songwriter around Maranatha music days, and he wrote a song that was just really once upon a time the story of Jesus. One day an infant's cry in a troubled land.
Wow.
Uh, Join the heavenly host on high in peace, goodwill to men. Um, he wrapped God wrapped his love in flesh and blood and took the form of man. I'm going, well, there it is, and in a way that doesn't sound terribly Christmassy, but I think sometimes a story needs to be just told.
Yeah, I agree. Well, I gotta say, one of my favorite songs that I've been listening to from the Christmas is Jesus album is the Angels We Have Heard on High. I love the way that starts out. I love the guitar riff. I love the it's just so awesome the way it sounds, and I love it.
You know what's
And they,
funny is that that was a pretty when we started it was like ben and it's just kind of galloping along and we were doing some traditional songs on there that I'm going yeah whatever away in a manger we turned that into something else which was just amazing.
yeah, 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 I
But
agree.
I remember at the end of that song we were recording it in a garage studio in North Hollywood and I'm singing in there. I'm singing in a garage, and it's like the song's just kind of galloping along, and at the end it kept going over. It's kind of vamping for a long time, and I ran out of things to do. And at the very end of the song, I went angels,
Oh
and
yeah, yeah.
that's where the song. That's where it was. And Dan Postema, the producer, liked it so much that he cut that. Is what we do, cut and splice. Is where
Okay, yeah,
he copied that one lick and put it at the front of the song. And it's
yeah.
like suddenly the whole song became something else. It was like,
Wow.
and that's what I'm saying is that sometimes the best things are completely surprise.
Yeah, that's interesting. I didn't know that.
And I mean, Angel, when you hear the jubilant, it's jubilant about angels. Angels are here. Wow, how amazing that would be is if you weren't scared to death. Like angels,
Yeah.
angels we've heard on. That's how that song came about. That's all.
Well, that's a great song, and I now I know the story behind you with that beginning part. That's really cool.
No, there's a lot of disasters that we turned into something. It's like
That's funny.
if you go to my Facebook page, you'll see a picture of me and Dan Postema sitting in the backyard under these. The flowers were in full bloom. It's dead middle of July,
Yeah.
and we're and we're recording Christmas music. We've got these Christmas hats on. We're sitting there in our sunglasses, on beach chairs, and like, yeah,
Uh,
here we are. We're doing Christmas is Jesus, and so you can see kind of on my podcast. I talk about choosing the songs. Last week I posted two different things about the stories behind the songs. You'd find it interesting.
wow. Okay.
If you go to nutshellsermons.com, you'll find it under Jesus and Music.
Okay. And also, another song I wanted to touch base on was the Herald Angels Sing.
Hark the Herald. They always got them mixed up. Hark the Herald and Angels We Have Heard. Eventually you get your angels and your shepherds mixed up, and it's like, I don't remember anything about Hark the Herald Angels Sing. Glory. Oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
the one where you almost choked to death.
Oh,
What?
yeah, that one.
Glory.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how that goes. I've got nothing good to say about
Oh,
that song. It's just,
oh, funny, man.
it's like a test of whether you're going to make the choir or not.
Yeah, I know, for real.
Let's let's see if you have enough breath to sing that part, and then
Oh,
maybe we'll
man.
let you be in the choir.
Yeah, that's probably the ultimate test right there.
Yeah,
Well,
my
and then,
favorite song wasn't even a gospel, Christmas carol. It was I heard the Eagles. They came out with a song that maybe the year before. Um, Bells will be ringing, the glad, glad news.
mm,
Oh, what a Christmas to have the blues. My
yeah, that's
baby
good.
gone. Remember that one?
Yeah.
I have no friends to wish me greetings. The song was called "Please Come Home for Christmas," and the arrangement was stupid good. It was so good.
Um,
I was sitting in a bank parking lot, and I sat there and waited for that song to be finished. I had to listen
really?
to the whole thing, and I'm going, "Wow, that's the best Christmas song I've ever heard."
Wow.
And then I found out that it was written in the '50s by a guy named Charles Brown. Imagine that. His name's Charlie Brown. I'm going, uh, he was a
That's
blues singer.
crazy. Wow.
Oh, you remember Charles Brown? A lot of people covered his songs too. Merry Christmas, baby. You sure been good to me. That was one of his. Bought me a
Okay.
diamond ring for Christmas. I didn't do that one, but I did another one of his later. Christmas time comes but once a year.
Yeah.
That's really fun. Take the next
Nice.
6 months to pay my bills. Every time I think about it, it gives me chills.
Wow.
That was Charles Brown, and
Okay.
but I put it on the Christmas is Jesus record because Please Come Home for Christmas just felt like an altar call to me. It felt
Yeah.
like an invitation to know Jesus. I've got a song coming out in about a week.
Oh, do you? Okay.
Yeah, it's just on my nutshell sermons, and it'll be on. We'll have a video of it on YouTube. The
Okay.
song's called "Print of a Baby's Hand," and it's about seeing. We've got this one Christmas ornament on our tree. It says "Baby's First Christmas" on it, and it's a little print of a
Oh,
baby's hand. And those kids are no longer babies. I mean that ornament has been there for 42 years.
42 years.
Yeah, it's
Wow.
like that's my oldest son now. He's got my first grandson,
Wow.
and I wanted to write a song, but it was out of irritation because I'm tired of people calling him the baby Jesus, like he never grew up, and so I just wanted to sing. But nobody's going to want to hear a Christmas song if you're mad. It's like, no, I got to get myself in a better mood.
Yeah.
Like, so I gotta. The song goes, but uh, uh, like baby Jesus, didn't stay too long from the time his mother brought him home. In a blink, those tiny hands are gone, but they still hold my world.
Wow.
And that's the song. It's called "The Print of a Baby's Hand," and it starts with every Christmas Eve, just me and the Christmas tree, weaving sweet memories of days gone by.
Yeah.
A print of a baby's hand still reaches out to me, hangs on a precious globe of midnight sky.
Mm. Hey, Brian, I want to ask you, what's your plans for 2026?
I have no idea. I'm 70. I'll be 73 next year.
Oh,
Yeah,
really? Okay.
yeah, it's hard to believe I'm in my 70s. It scares the crap out of me. I'm going. Things are not working like they used to. My knees. I've avoided a knee replacement just with physical therapy, and I've
Oh,
I've
really?
got a. I pulled a. What do they call that? When you pull your shoulder joint out. Um, they wanted to have a surgery on that, and I didn't want to do that either. And then they said
No.
my eyelids are drooping, so and they wanted to cut my eyelids. I'm going, no, I'm not doing that.
Wow.
But now I'm starting to have teeth problems, and everybody's talking about implants for your teeth, and I'm going, man, I'm not going to pull out perfectly good teeth just so I can have a whole bunch of them in there, and they're shinier. Like, but I may have to deal with. The older you get, the more of that stuff you have to deal with. So it's hard to make plans down the road. I'm going, in your 70s. I don't want to be wearing dentures in 5 years, but um, things don't work the way they used to. That's all. So
Yeah.
2026, I'm doing nutshell sermons. They're 2 minute sarcastic devotions, and I
Okay.
talk about as fast as I'm talking right here. And
Yeah.
but it's only 2 minutes long, and I don't take up an offering. So it's kind of like free church, and it's done in 2 minutes. So
It's only
you
two
might want to
minutes?
check those. They're out. They're pretty funny. I've got
Yeah.
one. The one that's up there now on Nutshell Sermons is I think the Grinch might be my cousin. Like, and I'd tell this whole story about that. There's no Bible stuff in that really, but I says
Okay.
you at the end, the nutshell sermon to that was you won't find the Christ child looking for elf on a shelf. There you go.
That's funny. So just a reminder, that's a your podcast is called A Nutshell Sermon.
No, it's just called Nutshell Sermons
Oh,
with an
Nutshell
S.
Sermons. Okay, Nutshell Sermons.
Nutshellsermons.com.
Okay.
And we do, we've got video clip of little babies doing the Nutshell Sermons.
Oh
That's
wow.
on, it's on YouTube at Nutshell Sermons.
Okay, it's on YouTube.
Yeah,
Okay.
you can find the whole list there, and you can find them on the podcast as well. But there's like 30 of them now. Uh, I asked, I think I told you that already. I asked AI to make me look younger,
Yeah.
and it turned me into a 3-year-old.
You're like, wow. Okay.
Yeah, but let's be honest. I look a lot better as a younger person.
Yeah. For 3 years old.
Yeah,
That's funny.
it is actually it's me as a I've
Baby,
got a
3 year old.
yeah, I've got a couple of pictures of me at that age, and
Yeah.
it's me. I'm going, yeah,
Yeah.
that looks like me
Yeah.
when I was 3. Looks like me when I was 3.
Well, before we close on the interview, I want to get to know just more what you and your family plan on doing for Christmas. What do you guys usually do for the holidays?
Well, we usually meet with the family 2 days after Christmas because there's just so
Oh, two
much
days
going on.
after. Okay.
The Duncan clan, at least, but we have a fun time. We get together at the beach. We have
Oh, do
dinner at the
you?
beach.
Well, that's
Uh,
cool.
it's a different kind of Christmas, and there's a Christmas tree on the beach.
Oh,
We
wow.
get pictures by it, and but every year we do something different. My favorite one was thrift store Christmas,
No, okay.
where everybody had to get a present from a thrift store,
Really?
and then
Okay.
then you passed them out like you just take your pick, or you'd pick it's like a white elephant gift, except everybody
Yeah,
got
yeah.
one. But they had to be from the thrift store. And then there was one we had was called a 7-Eleven Christmas,
Oh,
where
wow.
you had to get your Christmas gift from a 7-Eleven or a convenience store with a gas station. So
Wow, that's a trip.
well, it saves a little money too. And the
Oh,
funniest
yeah.
thing is, I remember that gas store. The gas store Christmas was I bought a lottery ticket, and it won. It won
Really?
170. Yeah, guy won $75, and he
Hey,
was.
that's cool.
I was like, hey, you win. But then there's string art Christmas. This year it's colors for Christmas. So everybody was given a color, and I got yellow, and I've got to bring something. The gift that I have to bring is got to be yellow, and I'm not really
Yeah.
sure. I was thinking about a block of cheese, maybe,
Yeah.
or
There's
probably
that's
maybe a
funny.
flower pot, that's
Yeah.
yellow. But everybody has to bring one, that's the color that they drew. My wife has got
Okay.
green, so I said just bring $1. That's green.
Yeah, there you go.
So
That's
yeah, it
funny.
makes Christmas more fun, and you're just laughing
Yeah, that's
hysterically
interesting.
by
That's
the end
different.
because
Yeah.
it's something stupid most of the time, and it's because you just can't compete with the prices of things now. It's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
give things that make people smile. That seems like the best thing.
Yeah. No, I agree. Yeah. Well, thank you, Brian Duncan, for coming on Rhythm and Roads
Well,
on
I'm
this
sorry.
during.
I'm talking a mile a minute. Maybe I've been up since 6, and I've had a lot of coffee.
Hey, I
So,
love coffee, so don't worry about that. No,
yeah,
you did
well, me
great.
too.
Thank you.
Well,
No,
this has
and
been fun, and let me know. Just send me a picture of the link, or send me the link, and I'll post it. To my 25
okay.
friends, because
Okay.
I have 25 friends on the X Files.
On
I
the
think.
X-Files.
Yeah.
That's funny. No, yeah, and for those that want to hear Brian Duncan's music, it's on Apple Music, Spotify. Of course, one of his best albums, Mercy, and a Christmas album. Check out the Christmas is Jesus. That album, definitely a great album. Came out in '95, but great album for during this time for Christmas. Just really learning about the reason of Christmas is Jesus. So. Yeah.
Can you hear the jet coming over? I think Santa got a 747. There's a new song right there. Santa got a 747. The population explosion.
No, yeah.
I'm going, man,
That's
that's
right.
loud. Why does he have to drive by right now? I don't know.
I know, right? I didn't hear it, but
Oh, good then. No,
yeah,
that's
no,
just
I
a,
didn't. No, I didn't hear it.
well, we live down the street from March Air Force Base, and sometimes they still bring bombers in there. They're like,
Oh,
well,
really? Okay.
I do all the nutshell sermons out here on my back patio,
Oh, do you? Okay.
so it's really annoying when things drive by,
Yeah.
and that's how he got really fast in the first place. But oh, I was gonna say if you like any of the songs that you hear on nutshell sermons, you can just simply request them, and I'll send them to you in an MP3 for free.
Oh,
You
really?
know,
Okay.
because after all, Spotify's not paying me anything anyway, nor is iTunes. I mean, they robbing musicians to death. So
Wow.
if I'm going to give my stuff away, I might as well give it to you directly. So
No. Well,
if you
thanks
go
for
to yeah,
that.
just
Yeah.
just request a song that you like. If you hear something on that I post on the Nutshell Sermons, just say I'd like a copy of that, and I will
Oh,
send.
cool. All right.
See,
Well,
it'll be
we hope,
fun.
yeah, it'll be fun. And we hope that next year you get to go out back on the road and do some touring a little bit, get some
Hey, and
shows.
listen to Print of a Baby's Hand. It's coming out this week on
No, that's right.
nutshellsermons.com.
Okay. Nice. All right, Brian Duncan. Well, thank you for coming on Rhythm and Roads, and Merry Christmas to you and your families. And
Yeah,
we,
personal friend of Josh here on Rhythm and Roads. Thanks for listening and tuning in, and be sure to tune in again next week.
that's right. All right, guys. Thanks for coming on to watch this episode with award-winning Grammy Award winner, Brian Duncan. So we'll catch you on the next episode. Merry Christmas.
Okay. Ba da ba ba da 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 da.